I saw the Minecraft movie. Sorry, a Minecraft movie. You gotta get that right. My apologies. Actually, I've seen it twice now, and my Instagram reel feed is now filled with
chicken jock, flint and steel.
Guys, help. I am dying over here. Anyway, good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. Intel here, although if you live in the overworld, the full day might have already passed by the time I finish saying this sentence. Get it? Because the days are really short in Minecraft? No? Okay, I'll see myself out. Send the mobs after me. So, a Minecraft movie. It's certainly one of the movies of all time. While I was watching it with my wife, I seriously couldn't decide whether I was enjoying it and laughing because of how hilariously dumb it was and that the movie wasn't taking itself seriously at all, or if I was laughing at the movie. My brain is really confusing itself. Before I talk about the movie, though, we've got to talk about the source material. Minecraft is without a doubt one of, if not the, most iconic games of all time. And even saying that is understating it. Minecraft isn't just a game, it's culture. It's everywhere in society, from word of mouth on the street, to merchandise in pretty much every store in the block, to multiple different foods themed around it, tons of successful YouTube channels that specifically only played this game. I could go on for a while. I played my fair share of this game, from the Pocket Edition on my Kindle Fire when I was a teenager, to playing multiplayer with my cousin, who still plays this game religiously, and most recently, playing the main survival and creative modes with my wife, who's been playing this game since she was like 9 years old. The reason Minecraft is such a successful cultural phenomenon is that it's beautifully simplistic. You load into a randomly generated sandbox world and are free to do whatever you want, and most importantly, build anything your heart desires. You can go fight monsters and mine to create weapons and materials and all sorts of stuff, or you can just build with unlimited resources. It is an absolute masterclass in letting your imagination flow onto the screen and allowing your creativity to build something insane. I mean, just look at some of these things people have built. I mean, this is just unbelievable. How do you people have the time to build this stuff? You can either dive into survival mode and eventually become strong enough to defeat the Ender Dragon, or you can clown around in creative mode, as I said. Those are the two main modes of the game, but there's a ton of other things to do as well, and I'd be here talking for hours if I were to get into every single thing you could do. I think you all get the point though. Minecraft is an icon of video games, and it's well deserved. It still has tons of people playing it every single day, and it doesn't look like it's going to die down anytime soon. With all of that being said, with a game as culturally significant as Minecraft, a movie adaptation of it was more than guaranteed. I mean, if Mario and Five Nights at Freddy's can have their own movies, why can't Minecraft? Talks of a Minecraft movie had been happening as far back as 2014, but the movie we have now wasn't officially confirmed until April 2022, produced by Warner Bros., co-produced by Legendary, and directed by Jared Hess, who has directed past movies like Nacho Libre, a movie I have seen, believe it or not. I regretted every second I wasted watching that movie, so hearing the same guy was directing a Minecraft film caused me a little apprehension. And then that apprehension increased when it was revealed the movie would be live action. And then that apprehension peaked when it was announced that Jack Black will be playing Steve. From then on until the movie's release, this casting was very controversial to say the least, especially when the first teaser trailer came out last year. The internet absolutely clowned on this teaser, with people saying it looked absolutely awful and that the movie was going to be a dumpster fire.
Why is there real people in it? This is stupid!
I am Steve.
Like, guys, they didn't even try. It's literally Jack Black in a blue shirt with his long hair and wild beard and everything. They decided that was good enough and called it a day. And that's exactly what Steve is during the entire movie. Jack Black in a blue shirt. They didn't even try to make Steve his own character or give him any kind of interesting personality. It's just Jack Black playing himself. Since I'm discussing characters, I'll do a quick spoiler-free section of the movie here and then a plot summary, and based on the recent poll I did, the majority of people who lovingly watch these videos would like me to go over the plot of movies and shows and such in a more story highlights kind of way, instead of basically giving a whole synopsis of the movie. And since I always honor poll results, that's what I'm going to do going forward, unless it benefits the video to do an entire story summary. And to be honest, this movie's plot isn't that extensive or extravagant, so it won't even take very long to go over the movie. But in case you do care about spoilers for this, they start here. Okay, so what did I think of a Minecraft movie? Was it as bad as people were saying it would be?
You're standing over there, and you're standing over there, and I don't know which way is up.
I feel like this question is a little complicated. Here's what I mean by that. This movie is a joke, and I'm not even saying that in a bad way. After watching it all the way through, it was clear to me that this movie was written to be a joke and wasn't supposed to be taken seriously because, no, this movie does not take itself seriously. At all. For the most part. There are a couple of occasions where it tries to be serious, where it doesn't really work because the entire tone of the movie is just goofiness. This whole movie is very stupid and very silly. And I'll admit it, there were some jokes that genuinely made me laugh out loud, although some of the humor was a little cringeworthy, but it's a kid's movie. I was expecting that. The way the Minecraft world itself is presented is actually very game accurate, even though the designs of some of the overworld's inhabitants are a little strange. I'm looking at you, villagers.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the is that?
And man, while I like the visuals for the most part, there are times where the green screen is so horrendously apparent, it kind of breaks the immersion. That's another reason I think using real actors against an obviously CGI and green screen background for a movie like this was not a good idea. The movie is packed with little Easter eggs and references to how Minecraft works as a game, and as an adaptation, the overworld itself is actually pretty well done. I found myself chuckling when they played the exact sound effects from the game when characters interacted with things like doors and when they were digging and such. It was really charming. However, the plot and characters are a different story. All of these characters just kind of exist, and there's a couple of times where the movie tries to give them character development, but it doesn't really go anywhere. The plot itself is almost non-existent. It's your standard characters get thrown into this wacky world and they have to travel across it to find a way home. And I could tear into the story all day and night, but let's be honest, a lot of people were not going into this movie expecting a grand story. Minecraft itself doesn't really have a story. You spawn into the world, fart around for a while until you're strong enough to defeat the Ender Dragon, and then the game just ends after that. It's not really that deep, and neither is this plot. The best way I can explain it without getting into spoilers is that a group of misfits all end up in the overworld, and after realizing they're trapped, they have to travel with Steve to find a mysterious artifact that will allow them to return home. Along the way, they encounter familiar enemies you run into every time you play Minecraft that eventually save the overworld from destruction and defeat the antagonist. Yes, there's a main villain in this story that, from my knowledge, is completely made up for this movie, and her motivations are simply to destroy everything, or as Jack Black puts it, remove all creativity from everything. It's as basic as you can get with a main villain, but again, this is a kid's movie about Minecraft. I don't really know what I was expecting, in all honesty. That's basically a non-spoiler summary of the plot, and the only other thing I can mention is that the real world plays a fairly significant role as well, which is kind of weird, I'm not gonna lie, but I'll get more into that when I talk spoilers. To wrap up my spoiler-free section of this, all I can say is that you're looking for a goofy, stupid movie to watch. If you're bored for a couple hours, this would be what to watch. And if you're a parent, yeah, take your child or children to this. They're going to absolutely eat this up. Alright, without further ado, it's spoiler time. I'll go over the story highlights and give you a very Spark Notes version of what happens. Although I'll try to, because y'all know I never know when to stop talking. Y'all know this. Anyway, y'all ready? Have you seen the movie yet? This is your last spoiler warning. Okay, here we go. Herobrine! Boo! The first few scenes of this movie follow Steve, a run-of-the-mill nobody doorknob salesman in Idaho that yearns for the mines. Doorknob salesman. What an amazing career that the children watching this can strive for. As a child, Steve's dream was to explore the mines near his home, for some reason, but unfortunately the mines are strictly off limits to children. There's even a mean old man guarding the mine to keep Steve out, so Steve is forced to retreat until he grows up and returns as an adult, and the same old man is still there. Exact same age and all. I'll admit it. I laughed. This is hilarious. Steve finds two mysterious artifacts that just happen to be there. He just finds them, okay. The Orb of Dominance and the Earth Crystal, that when put together open a portal to the overworld, a magical place where creativity is the key to survival and anything is possible. There, Steve makes a life for himself, builds a ton of crap, including a whole amusement park, and befriends a cute wolf named Dennis. Things are amazing and fantastic for a few years until he stumbles upon a portal to the Nether.
Flint and steel.
Which is a very bad place where creativity is shunned and there's a lot of lava. And pigs. Steve quickly learns that the leader of the pigs that inhabit the Nether, I know they're called piglins, I'm just trying to be funny, is called Malgosha. Cool name, bro. She's after the Orb of Dominance and wants to use it to destroy the overworld. Steve is of course like,
We can't have that.
but he and Dennis are captured, only to then escape and nab the orb again. They almost escape the Nether, but Steve realizes he's not making it out of there, so he sends Dennis back through the Nether portal and then back out of the overworld portal to the real world, where no one can get their hands on the orb. But the plot needs to happen, so someone is going to get their hands on the orb. Also, can we talk about how nobody in the real world is questioning why there's some weird blocky wolf running around everywhere? Whatever. Back in the real world things are happening that involve real people. I'm being specific on this because these real people stick out like a sore thumb when they're in the overworld. Oh, we'll get to that. Anyway, the movie spends the next 20 minutes or so establishing our four main misfits of the film that stumble into the world of Minecraft. There's Garrett Garrison, nicknamed the Garbage Man due to his amazing video game skills back in 1999, played by Jason Momoa. Natalie, played by Emma Myers, who looks like she'd do great in a career that involves making potato chips. Her brother Henry, played by Sebastian Eugene Hansen, who is a very gifted builder that will probably be able to master real Minecraft in a matter of minutes. And Dawn, played by Danielle Brooks. This is a very, very random group of people, and I guess that's supposed to be the point because Minecraft can be played by absolutely anyone. The movie takes absolutely forever to finally get these characters into the overworld. I get that there needs to be some setup to bring them together so they all enter the portal, but it is a solid 20 minutes or more before we get there. I mean, I get why we need to spend some time with Aquaman since he comes across Steve's mysterious orb. Aquaman, get it? Because Jason Momoa played that part. Okay. I guess Steve's stuff got moved into the storage unit after he disappeared into the overworld. The movie doesn't really explain this, but that's my assumption. Besides that, there's 10 to 15 minutes of Henry in school, and the vice principal of this school is introduced here, and this leads to a certain subplot later in the movie. Oh, we'll get to that. And Natalie in the potato chip factory. There's also what seems to be a backstory about their mom and that she died, I think, but that goes absolutely nowhere. This movie never explores this at all. The Garbage Man finds the orb and the Earth Crystal. Natalie starts her new job at the local potato chip factory running their social media stuff, even though she looks like she's 15, but whatever. And her brother Henry starts at his new school. And Dawn exists. She drives around with a van full of animals, one of them being an alpaca. She's a real estate agent, but according to her, she has like 15 other side gigs. Like, does she ever sleep? So here's the spark notes of what happens to get to Minecraft. Aquaman gets evicted, Henry gets in trouble at school for blowing up the giant potato on the potato chip factory with a rocket he made because he was bullied and wants to try to impress the school, and he's reprimanded by Marlene, aka Jennifer Coolidge, because of course she's in this movie, and the whole group ends up at the overworld portal since Henry comes into contact with it at the Garbage Man's shop. They all get sucked into the overworld and shenanigans ensue. While they're clowning around and trying to get their bearings, a random villager that's just there wanders through the overworld portal and is transported back to Earth. Once again, we'll get to the subplot this leads to. Trust me. Steve is sent out by Malgosha when she realizes the Orb of Dominance has returned to the overworld. She instructs Steve, while bluffing that she's holding his dear puppy Dennis hostage, to retrieve the Orb of Dominance and bring it back to her, and she totally isn't going to double-cross him. Nah, she wouldn't do that. Speaking of Malgosha, her motivation to destroy the overworld and creativity is because she was humiliated in the Nether's Got Talent dance contest. I'm not kidding. This is a real motivation. Bro, what are we even doing? The band of misfit toys are still clowning around and nearly getting killed by zombies and skeletons. Thankfully, they're saved by Steve, and we get the line.
Who are you?
I am Steve.
They learn from Steve that to get back home, they have to travel to the Woodland Mansion to get a replacement Earth Crystal, since Aquaman was careless and broke the one they had like a doofus. And yeah, another Earth Crystal is just at the Woodland Mansion. Because reasons. The plot demands it! The group strikes an alliance with Steve and agrees to give him the orb if he helps them get the crystal, so they set off to the Woodland Mansion. Meanwhile, the villager we saw go through the overworld portal earlier is trying to cross the road, and it just so happens that Marlene hits him with her car.
You're not gonna sue me, are you? Because everyone wants to sue me once I hit them with my Jeep Grand Cherokee.
This is not a real movie. You cannot tell me hundreds of millions of dollars went into this. The Misfits reach Midport Village, where we see more uncanny CGI villagers, a wholesome Technoblade reference.
Whoa. Is he some kind of king?
No. That's a legend.
A fairly decent-looking Iron Golem, and Jack Black singing about chicken.
La 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 lava, chicken. Steve's lava chicken, yeah, it's tasty as hell. Ooh, mamacita, now you're ringing the bell. Crispy and juicy, now you're having a stand.
Malgosha sends Chungus after Steve. Yeah, Chungus. Are y'all laughing yet? Now we're building stuff.
This is a crafting table.
Jack, bro, please calm down. They're making buckets, swords, and a tater tot shoot. Okay. Anyway, the group ends up being separated after Piglins and Chungus attack the village, so now we have to jump back and forth between Natalie and Dawn and Steve, Aquaman, and Henry. Since the garbage man is more concerned about his financial woes than the safety of Henry and his sister, they take a dangerous detour through some mines where Steve keeps a fat stack of diamonds as an added condition from Aquaman to returning the Orb of Dominance to Steve. And I swear, during this scene, Steve says, "son of a biscuit," which I am dead convinced is supposed to be a Tobuscus reference. You cannot convince me otherwise. Due to this detour, the group has to escape a giant cave full of creepers that Steve bred while running from the Great Hog. They narrowly escape, but their near death gets Henry really angry at Garbage Man, understandably, since that put everyone in danger and distracted everyone from trying to regroup, showing Garbage Man cares more about riches than the well-being of Henry's family. There's some attempts at character development here where Garbage Man opens up about how he's a loser and has no one, but that's about as far as it goes. We gotta move along because silly plot! They finally get to the Woodland Mansion, and Garbage Man and Steve distract the really creepy pillagers in the mansion via a goofy ring fight with a baby zombie on a chicken. Bro, I don't... What's the joke here? I don't get why people are literally pitching their popcorn everywhere. You do know you paid like $12 for that, right? Just as a side note, when I originally wrote this part, the movie had only been out for a day or two, but now there's tons of videos going viral of movie theaters being absolutely unhinged over Chicken Jockey. Not only are people slinging their popcorn everywhere, but people are also throwing their drinks at the screen. One video showed flour all over some theater, and one theater even had the cops show up. I genuinely do not understand this. Like, yeah, the meme is funny and all, but why are people ransacking theaters over it? I don't get it. I guess the world will never understand. Anyway, while the chicken jockeying is going on, Henry grabs the replacement Earth Crystal, because that's just there for some reason, again. Anyway, he also gets an Ender Pearl after taking out an Enderman, which actually looks really good in the visual department. And we get what I think is a Herobrine reference when Henry is hallucinating because of the Enderman. While the group tries to escape, Malgosha shows back up and steals the Orb of Dominance and blows up the bridge to the mansion. Garbage Man seems to sacrifice himself here, so Steve and Henry can escape, and after a brutal crash landing, they regroup with Natalie and Dawn, since they found Dennis on their own journey, who helped lead them to Steve, because Steve smells very bad. The movie's words, not mine. Malgosha and the Piglins begin their destruction of the overworld by blotting out the sun, but the group has a bunch of iron golems and weapons at their disposal. Of course, they win the fight by retrieving the orb thanks to Garbage Man coming back to no one's shock, and Malgosha is defeated. Man, I was really on the edge of my seat there. I thought they might actually lose in this goofy kids movie. The group escapes the overworld, along with Steve deciding to return as well, and happy ending. Garbage Man creates a successful video game, Henry builds a successful jetpack, Natalie starts self-defense classes, and Dawn opens her zoo and shows off Dennis. Because finally, people are starting to see the weird blocky dog. And Steve helps operate Garbage Man's video game store. So, yeah, happy kids movie ending. And we have to have the ending be Jack Black singing, because, yeah, I know, Tenacious D. Get it? A mid-credits scene shows us that Marlene is now in a passionate relationship with the villager she hit with her car, and that villager has now learned perfect English. This is a payoff to an earlier scene where Marlene is having a romantic dinner with the villager. She's divorcing her husband, and now getting with a square dude with a Squidward nose that goes, huh.
By a love so powerful, it transcended the barriers of conventional speech. Now I speak human, and she speaks villager.
This is a fake movie. This is not real. Unsurprisingly, there's a sequel-baiting post-credit scene where Steve returns to his old home to find a girl living there named Alex. Yep. You know what that means. And there you go. That's the movie. I did my best to summarize the plot and condense it more instead of going over the story beat by beat. Hopefully that was condensed enough for you guys. Maybe. Please. I beg. Holy moly, my brain doesn't even know what to make about what I just watched. I'm shaking my head and I can hear sloshing sounds. I'm cooked. A Minecraft movie is a very weird amalgamation of some pretty nice game-accurate shenanigans with the mobs, the villagers, the building, the mining, sound effects, the crafting, minecarts, etc., with some very, very stupid and bad things. In terms of the actual overworld itself, it's very close to the game. I appreciated the attention to detail there, even though you can tell it's all green screen and CGI. The story and characters, on the other hand...
What the f*** is that?
My wife describes it best. It's as if the producers of this movie walked into a room filled with 9-year-olds and said, "Okay, everyone, write the movie." It is mind-blowing to me that this was a production that hundreds of millions of dollars went into, based on the most iconic video game of all time, and this is what we got out of it. It's very conflicting because there are some elements of the movie that I genuinely like. Again, the world of Minecraft itself, despite the visuals sometimes looking very corporate approved.
Dude, it's so movie-fied, it's disgusting!
Jack Black is whatever. I've personally never found him to be that funny, but that's no disrespect to his acting talent. It's just my personal preference, and if you love him, I totally respect it. My issue is that in this movie, he doesn't really bring anything to Steve. It's literally just Jack Black being Jack Black in a blue shirt. Jason Momoa is probably my favorite character in the film. At least he got a couple of chuckles out of me. The rest of the characters, especially the main villain, are just so bland and basic, and I never felt anything when the movie tried to give them development. In my blunt, honest opinion, the movie is more focused on being goofy and silly rather than telling an interesting story. And when it does try to tell a story and give our main characters some kind of development, it kind of falls flat, and you can never really tell what the movie wants to be. I'm not going to call it lifeless or soulless because there is a lot of fun to be had while watching it, but it banks off being a Minecraft film and will make a lot of money because of the source material being insanely popular and culturally relevant. I expect the sequel, which is inevitable, to be similar. If a low-effort adaptation makes a buttload of money, the sequel isn't going to have a lot of effort put in either. I did find some parts to be funny and entertaining, but the whole package screams this was made by corporate overlords who barely understand the heart and soul of Minecraft that created it the way they did to make big numbers. That's what this is. The numbers that come from this movie matter more than a heartfelt story being told. Earlier I said this movie was definitely written to be a joke and not taken seriously due to how goofy and stupid it is, and if you want to make a silly, stupid kids movie, that's fine. Kids love dumb, stupid movies, obviously, and that's why this movie is going to do so well. It embodies a movie made for kids. But that's what makes it so disappointing at the same time. Considering how iconic Minecraft is, we could have gotten a fantastic, beautiful adaptation that brings the magic and wonder of Minecraft to life with deep, rich characters that you actually care about. Instead, we got a joke movie, and it makes this adaptation feel like a waste. It'll make money, and then people will forget about it. I doubt this is going to be a movie that's still talked about 15 to 20 years from now. Many people were saying they could have gone with a story similar to what Minecraft Story Mode was, and funnily enough, people were pretty hard on that game at the time, but are coming back and apologizing to it now after this. Sadly, a story like Minecraft Story Mode isn't what we got, and it's pretty disappointing. But the kids are going to love it, and that's what's going to bring in the most bank. The vast majority of adults aren't going to enjoy this. That's just a fact. It's made for children. Based on all this, I'm giving a Minecraft movie a very middle-of-the-road score of 5 out of 10. Despite all my complaints and criticisms, it is a fun time. I was never bored watching it at the very least, but that does not excuse the extremely bland story and poorly written characters. I want to hope that the sequel improves on this stuff, but I'm not getting my hopes up. And that concludes my review of a Minecraft movie. What did you guys think of it? Am I being too hard on the movie, or do you agree with my take on what we got? What did you like and not like about it? Definitely let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe today to become a fellow intellectual. Check out my other reviews and fun stuff in the description below and the end cards. Have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. Peace!